Good afternoon. Welcome to today's press conference with Competition Commissioner Margrethe Vestager on an antitrust decision adopted today. Commissioner, without further ado, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much. Before turning to today's decision, I would very much like to use this opportunity to congratulate Ursula von der Leyen on her election by the European Parliament Tuesday. It is indeed historic. We now have the first president-elect, a woman, for the European Commission. And I look very much forward to working with Ursula, and I find a lot of inspiration in her guidance and what line she's setting for the next Commission. I'm here, though, today to talk about a decision that we have taken. So today the Commission has decided to fine Qualcomm 242 million euros for an anti-competitive behaviour that is illegal under EU antitrust rules. Our case concerns baseband chipsets. They are the chipsets that are compliant with 3G standards and mainly used in mobile broadband devices. Our investigation found that Qualcomm blocked competition by applying predatory prices to protect its dominance. EU competition rules do not prevent dominant companies like Qualcomm from offering low prices to their customers. But dominant companies, they have a special responsibility not to impair competition in the internal market. They can sell at low prices, but they cannot sell below cost with the intention of eliminating a competitor. This is not competition on the merits. While such predatory pricing can lead to low prices in the short term, customers are worse off in the long run. Because once the victim of the predatory strategy is marginalized or leave the markets, well, then a dominant company is no longer challenged by competition and will try to recoup what it has lost by raising prices and slowing down investment and innovation to the detriment of consumers. You probably right now have a baseband chipset in your pocket or in your bag. They are in all smartphones, they are in all tablets that we use every day. Thanks to this vital component, mobile devices can connect to mobile networks so that we can make phone calls or we can access the internet. Baseband chipsets, they can also be part of external modules, such as data cards, which are plugged into devices, which can then connect to the internet. These mobile broadband devices were among the first to offer high-speed mobile connectivity, allowing laptops and other devices to connect. Between 2009 and 2011, 3G was the most advanced wireless technology standard. At the time, Qualcomm sold 60% of these chipsets worldwide. There are significant barriers to entry into this market. Chipsets are very complex as products. They require high investment in research and innovation. The fact that Qualcomm dominated the market is, as such, not a problem under EU competition rules. We value companies for becoming successful due to their skills, due to their innovation. The problem is when a company distorts competition against the interests of consumers and the market as a whole. Our case began with a complaint from a company called ICERA. ICERA was a small, growing startup which introduced its first baseband chipset to the market in 2006. ICERA's chipsets became an attractive alternative to Qualcomm's baseband chipsets, in particular those for data cards. As a result, Qualcomm started seeing ICERA as posing a real threat to its chipset business. Our investigation showed that Qualcomm identified the threat as critical by 2010. Qualcomm not only had a concern about the growing success of ICERA's chipsets for data cards, it was also concerned that ICERA would start offering 3G chipsets for smartphones. ICERA's success in the data card segment could serve as a springboard to allow it to compete in the far more significant and profitable segment for chipsets for smartphones. To make sure that ICERA's business could not reach a size that could endanger the market position of Qualcomm, Qualcomm took what it describes in internal documents, preventive actions. This meant offering very targeted price concessions to two strategically important customers, namely Huawei and ZTE. These were big customers of chipsets for data cards, and they were essential for ICERA to succeed in the market. Our investigation found that 2 crucial years for ICERA's development prospects, Qualcomm offered 3 of its leading or chipping-edge chipsets at prices below cost to their key customers. The prices set by Qualcomm did not allow it to cover its cost for developing and producing chipsets. The evidence that we have seen shows that this was done on purpose. It was done on purpose to prevent ICERA from gaining a foothold in the market at a time where ICERA was Qualcomm's main contender in the market segment for chipsets for data cards. As a result of Qualcomm's conduct, ICERA was prevented from gaining reputation and scale as a supplier of chipsets for data cards and, ultimately, for entering the larger smartphone segment. ICERA did not make it as a self-standing competitor in the chipset industry. In 2011, it was bought by NVIDIA, which decided to abandon the baseband chipset market a few years later. Qualcomm's abusive behavior also had a negative impact on innovation. By choking off ICERA's revenues from the 3G business, Qualcomm deprived ICERA of funds that it needed to develop chipsets for the next wireless generation, the 4G standard. Qualcomm did not demonstrate that its conduct created efficiencies that could justify it. In short, Qualcomm's behavior deprived customers of a wider choice of technologies and affected ICERA's ability to develop chipsets for the next wireless technology generation. And this is why we fined Qualcomm 242 million euros. The fine reflects the seriousness and the duration of the infringement. Now, predatory pricing is not a common type of case. In fact, the last time the Commission imposed a fine for such behavior was 16 years ago. But no matter how difficult, no matter how complex these cases are, we remain committed to fighting predatory pricing by dominant companies. Moreover, the decision today will support any action for damages caused by Qualcomm's anti-competitive behavior before national courts. In fact, in cases before national courts, a Commission decision is a binding proof of the behavior that it took place and that it was illegal. But it is true if you think that it took some time for us to conclude this case. We opened the formal investigation and sent a statement of objection to Qualcomm back in 2015. Since then, we sent a supplementary statement of objection to Qualcomm. We held 2 oral hearings. We engaged in detailed exchanges with the company concerning additional information that was required for our investigation. Qualcomm has also appealed one of our information requests to the General Court and, after losing in the first instance, appealed the decision to the European Court of Justice. These many different procedural steps, they are a key part of the checks and balances that ensure the procedural fairness of our enforcement system. But they do take time. We have made progress in this mandate in expediting our antitrust procedures, but it is a challenge that will stay with us for quite some time still. Just to conclude, this is the second antitrust fine that we have imposed on Qualcomm. In 2018, we fined the company 997 million euros because it granted exclusivity payments. In both that case and today's case, Qualcomm's objective was the same: to protect its dominant position in relation to baseband chipsets, to shut out its rivals. Similarly, the Commission objective in these cases is always the same: to protect European consumers, to enable choice, the benefits of competition that are so obvious: choice, affordable prices, and innovation. Thank you.